How many of you plan to get married one day? Many people can walk into marriage blindly, only thinking of the exciting, magical parts. But according to McKinleyIrving.com, there is one divorce approximately every 36 seconds. That's 2,400 divorces a day and 16,800 divorces a week. That is a devastatingly high number. Many can enter into marriages with their own expectations and forget to think about their spouses or their significant others' expectations as well. Marriages are more likely to sustain if you not only recognize your love language, but your partner's love language as well. There are 5 love languages, and they are as follows. 1, words of affirmation. 2, physical touch. 3, receiving gifts. 4, quality time. And 5, acts of service. Today I'll be explaining to you how to communicate each one, some actions to take, and some things to avoid in expressing them. First, let's discuss words of affirmation. Mark Twain said, "I can live 2 months on a good compliment." So if your love language is words of affirmation, that probably holds true to you. If this is your significant other's love language, however, it's probably important for you to understand how to communicate that to them. But in order to do that, you can encourage them, affirm them, appreciate, and listen actively to them. Some actions you could take would be to send an unexpected note, text, or card. It is also important to know what to avoid in expressing this love language to your partner. Some things to avoid in this case would be not recognizing or remembering an important event. Now that we have learned about the first love language, let's talk about the second, which is physical touch. To communicate this one, you can use nonverbal use of the body and touch to show love. If your partner finds this one important, some actions you could take would be to hold their hand, to kiss them, to hug them, or to cuddle them. Now this may seem obvious, but physical abuse and physical neglect would be some obvious things to avoid in expressing this love language. According to Gary Chapman, physical touch can make or break a relationship. To a person whose primary love language is physical touch, if you hug them or if you slap them, that says so much more than "I hate you" or "I love you." The third love language is receiving gifts. It is exactly how it sounds. Some people need to receive presents in order to feel loved. If your significant other's love language is receiving gifts, it's so important to learn how to communicate this one. So you can use thoughtfulness, and you can use the giving of gifts or just random gestures to express your love to them. Some actions to take would be to give thoughtful gifts, express gratitude, and to be expressing gratitude when you receive the gifts. So if they give you a gift, you have to be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for this," because they need to see that you are interested in their love language. Unenthusiastic gift receiving and forgetting special occasions would be things to avoid in expressing this love language. Chapman also says that it doesn't matter how much the gift costs or where you got it from, it matters the thought behind it. The fourth love language is quality time. Time is a precious commodity. We all have multiple demands on our time, yet each of us have the exact same 24 hours in a day. We can make the most of these hours by committing them to our significant other. If your partner's love language is quality time, you can communicate it to them by having uninterrupted and focused conversations and having lots of one-on-one time with them. Some actions to take would be to create special moments, take walks, and do special things with your partner. Distractions when spending time together and going a long time without seeing each other would not express it at all. It would probably end you in divorce. So in the book 5 Love Languages, it speaks about how we can hang out with our boyfriend or girlfriend or our spouse, and we think that we're spending time together, but we're both sitting on the couch watching a movie, or we're both on our phones. And that's not, if your love language is quality time, you don't want them to be staring at their phone. You want them to be looking you in the eyes and communicating to you. So that would be something to avoid. The fifth and final love language is acts of service. To communicate this one, you can let your partner know that you're wanting to lighten their load. Some actions to take would be to make them breakfast, cook them dinner, clean the house, do some extra chores around your house as well. False promises and lacking follow-through on small or large tasks would be some things to avoid in trying to express this love language. Just don't make promises you can't keep, because if you don't show up to a date that you planned, they're going to be so upset. To wrap everything up, there are 5 love languages, and they are as follows. 1, words of affirmation. 2, physical touch. 3, receiving of gifts. 4, quality time. And 5, acts of service. According to Wilkinson and Finkbeiner, family law attorneys, there are 9 divorces in the time it takes for one couple to recite their wedding vows. Although that statistic is heartbreaking, it emphasizes how important it is to know not only your love language, but your partner's as well. Now that we have covered each of them, which do you think is yours?